Bambi, never one to hold her tongue, looked stunned as details spilled out, shaking her head as though she had just heard the ultimate betrayal. Yandy's face told its own story, her shock quickly turning to disbelief, as if she couldn't process how far the Frosts and Jasmine might have taken things. And as soon as the cameras caught those looks, fans rushed to social media, sparking debate, disbelief, and wild theories. Was the pain Rasheeda once claimed all just an act? Were the Frosts and Jasmine playing a game bigger than anyone realized? Emotions ran high. The family was left divided, and the audience couldn't look away. This wasn't just another love and hip-hop moment. This was a bombshell that could change everything. The night started with laughter and casual chatter, but nobody could have predicted how quickly the energy in the room would shift. What seemed like a normal get-together turned into a scene straight out of a soap opera when whispers began to circle about Rasheeda and Kirk Frost's supposed secret arrangement with Jasmine. It wasn't just that they had patched things up, which in itself would have been shocking enough after all the history. No, the talk now was that they had allegedly gone further, exploring a kind of relationship that left everyone stunned. Bambi's eyes widened the moment she heard the claim. She leaned back, shaking her head slowly, almost as if she was trying to process what she had just heard. "Nah, you lying," she muttered, her voice carrying disbelief. But the way her expression shifted told fans that she wasn't just brushing it off. She looked hurt, almost betrayed, as though the very foundation of what she thought she knew about her friends had just cracked. Yandy's reaction wasn't any softer. She raised her hand to her forehead, covering her eyes for a moment, before speaking. "Wait, hold up. You mean to tell me all them tears? All that drama last year about Jasmine breaking up the family? Was due?" The whispers started small, but by the end of the night, the entire room was buzzing with shock. Fans could hardly believe their ears when the rumor broke that Rasheeda and Kirk Frost might not just be cool with Jasmine again, but allegedly entangled in something much deeper, a possible poly relationship that has everyone talking. The idea alone was enough to make jaws drop, but when Bambi and Yandy's reactions surfaced, the drama went from rumor to full-blown chaos. "Ist for the cameras?" Her voice trembled with equal parts shock and anger, and the people around her leaned in, desperate to catch every word. The revelation was enough to stop conversations mid-sentence. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know what was true and what wasn't. Was Rasheeda really faking pain just to build a storyline? Had Kirk been playing along the entire time? And most of all, where did Jasmine fit into all of this now? The alleged vacations became the center of attention. Rumors swirled that the Frosts and Jasmine had been spotted in the Bahamas together, and fans claimed they had photos to prove it. Blurry screenshots from social media started circulating, showing what looked like similar backgrounds and pictures. They each posted separately. One clip showed Jasmine laughing by the ocean, while Kirk's page featured a sunset that looked suspiciously identical. The timing of the posts made fans believe the story had weight. Bambi shook her head again. This time louder, almost yelling. "I can't believe this. After all the times Rasheeda looked me dead in the face talking about how Jasmine ruined her life. And now y'all telling me they've been cool this whole time?" "Nah, I'm not buying it," Yandy cut in, her tone sharper. "Now, but that's the thing, Bam. Maybe it ain't about you buying it. Maybe they really been playing us all along. Maybe the whole thing was just a show." The suggestion sent shockwaves through the room. Was it possible that one of the most dramatic storylines in love and hip-hop history was actually a setup? Fans who had invested years of emotions into Rasheeda's heartbreak now felt betrayed themselves, as if they too had been manipulated into playing along with the act. Jasmine, who had stayed quiet for most of the exchange, finally spoke. Her voice was calm, but her eyes betrayed a mix of frustration and exhaustion. "I'm not here to explain myself to nobody. People gonna believe what they want. But I'll tell you this. Things ain't always what they look like." Her words only added to the confusion. Some people took it as a denial, others as a sly confirmation that something deeper was going on. The ambiguity was enough to keep the fire burning, and social media lit up instantly. On Twitter, one fan wrote, "Jasmine basically just confirmed it without confirming it," while another posted, "If Rasheeda been faking pain all these years, she owes us all an apology." Instagram lives popped up left and right, with fans debating the truth, replaying clips, and analyzing every detail like detectives. Bambi, unwilling to let it go, turned directly to Yandy. "So what you saying is, we've been out here defending Rasheeda, standing by her, riding for her, while she and Jasmine been sipping cocktails together behind closed doors." Yandy's face hardened. "That's what it looked like, Bam. That's exactly what it looked like." The weight of those words hung heavy in the air. The room was no longer buzzing with excitement. It was heavy with betrayal and suspicion. Kirk shifted in his seat, avoiding eye contact, while Rasheeda tried to maintain her composure. But the way her hands fidgeted under the table told a different story. "You know what hurts the most?" Bambi said, her voice softer now. "The fact that we all put our reputations on the line for Rasheeda. We defended her when people dragged her. We stood by her side. And now it looks like the whole time, we were just pawns in a game." Yandy nodded slowly, her own expression pained. And the fans too. People cried for her. People cursed Jasmine's name. And now? Now we supposed to believe they all cool. Even closer than ever. Nah, it don't sit right with me. Jasmine crossed her arms, her patience thinning. "Like I said, y'all can think what you want. I know my truth. And if people mad about it, that's their problem." The dismissive tone didn't sit well with anyone, least of all Rayface, who had been listening quietly until now. His deep voice cut through the tension like a blade. "Nah, see? That's where you're wrong. When you in this circle, your truth ain't just your truth, it affects everybody. So if you playing games, just know the fallout gonna touch everybody in this room." His warning sent chills across the table, and the camera caught the nervous glances exchanged between Kirk and Rasheeda. The family looked cornered, like the walls were closing in, and fans could feel it too. Their timelines exploding with comments about how guilty the Frosts looked under pressure. By now, the story had spiraled into something bigger than anyone could control. What started as a whispered rumor had grown into a tidal wave of accusations, doubts, and betrayals. And at the center of it all were Rasheeda, Kirk, and Jasmine. Their every move scrutinized, their every silence interpreted as guilt. Bambi leaned forward again, her tone steady. "I don't care what nobody says. Until I see otherwise, I'm believing what the street's been saying. And if the streets are right, then everybody in here owe the fans an explanation." Yandy's agreement was immediate. "Facts. Because we not just talking about private lives anymore. We talking about the brand, the legacy of this whole show. If people feel lied to, it could ruin everything." The thought left the room in a heavy hush. For the first time, it wasn't just about personal feelings or messy drama. It was about the bigger picture, the image of love and hip-hop itself. The weight of Yandy's words about the brand and legacy hung in the air like thick smoke. Everyone knew she was right. This wasn't just messy gossip anymore. It was the kind of scandal that could stain reputations permanently and shake the foundation of everything the cast had built together. Rasheeda finally let out a long sigh, the kind of exhale that told you she was struggling to keep her emotions in check. "Y'all don't know what it's like to live under a microscope," she said quietly, her eyes darting between Bambi and Yandy. "Every mistake gets amplified, every rumor gets twisted, and before you know it, people believe you're living a life you barely even recognize." Bambi wasn't having it. She leaned forward, her nails tapping against the table, her voice sharp. "Girl, don't play the victim with me. I've been here too, I know how it goes. But what you describing ain't mistakes or rumors. This is about choices. And if you chose to keep Jasmine close while making the rest of us believe she tore your world apart, then you played us all." The jab hit hard, and fans watching could feel the sting through the screen. The comments online started pouring in, some siding with Rasheeda, saying she had the right to forgive and move on. Others backing Bambi, accusing Rasheeda of manipulating everyone for sympathy. Kirk, who had stayed mostly silent, finally spoke, his tone defensive. Look, people see what they want to see. Me and Rasheeda been through a lot, and yeah, Jasmine been part of that story. But not everything y'all hear is true. People take one piece of information and run with it, turning it into something it ain't. Yandy's laugh was bitter. But, Kirk, come on now. Y'all been spotted together more than once. Fans ain't stupid. You can't post sunsets from the same beach and expect folks not to put two and two together. The mention of the Bahamas trip sparked fresh outrage in the room. Jasmine shifted uncomfortably, her lips pressed tight, but she didn't deny it. And that silence spoke louder than any words could have. Bambi leaned back, her arms crossed, her smirk returning. Silence is an answer too, Jasmine. You ain't saying no. You ain't saying yes. But either way, you guilty in the court of public opinion. Jasmine finally snapped, her voice louder than anyone expected. I don't owe nobody an explanation about where I go or who I go with. I'm grown. I live my life how I see fit. The declaration sent ripples through the room. On one hand, it was empowering, a woman standing firm against judgment. On the other, it was damning, because it didn't clear up the rumors. It only made them stronger. Rayface, who had been pacing, again slammed his hand on the table, making everyone jump. What did I tell y'all? This back and forth ain't gonna get nowhere. You keep pushing, you keep poking, and you gonna see a side of me you don't want to see. The threat was heavy, but instead of silencing the room, it ignited it further. Bambi clapped back immediately. See, there it is again. More threats, less truth. If you so sure it's all lies, Rayface, then why not just put it to bed with facts? He glared at her, his jaw tight. Facts don't matter to people who already decided what they want to believe. The tension was unbearable. Even Spice, who had tried to calm things earlier, shook her head in disbelief. Lord, I thought tonight was supposed to be about celebrating, not exposing. But once the lid was off, there was no closing it again. Fans on social media were tearing apart every sentence, every reaction. Jasmine never denied the trip, one wrote. Kirk didn't even blink when Bambi accused him, another added. Hashtags about the alleged polylife started trending, and within hours, the entire internet was caught up in the scandal. Yandy sat back down, rubbing her temples. You know what gets me, she said softly, is that all this time we've been tearing each other apart over this story. Women dragging women, friendships broken, and now it turns out it was all smoke and mirrors. If that's true, then the Frosts owe us more than just explanations. They owe us our peace back. Bambi nodded in agreement, her eyes still locked on Rasheeda. Facts. Because peace don't come easy in this circle. Once you break trust, it's near impossible to get it back. Rasheeda's voice cracked slightly when she answered. You think I don't know that? You think I don't wake up every day wishing things had gone differently? But forgiveness is complicated. Relationships are complicated. I made my choices, right or wrong, and I gotta live with them. The vulnerability in her tone softened the room for a brief moment, but it didn't erase the damage already done. Fans watching replayed the clip of her words, debating whether it was genuine or just another performance for the cameras. Zell, who had stayed mostly quiet, finally spoke up. All I know is this. If the streets keep talking and y'all don't, set the record straight, this is gonna blow up bigger than anything we've seen before. And once that happens, it won't be no coming back. The warning felt like foreshadowing, and the weight of his words made everyone pause. But it was Rayface, who broke the silence again, his voice low and dangerous. Or maybe that's the point. Maybe some people like watching the world burn, as long as it ain't their hands on the match. Eyes turned toward Bambi, who didn't flinch. She smiled faintly, her expression daring anyone to call her out. If speaking the truth is burning the world, then so be it, she said calmly. The line would later become one of the most quoted of the night, turned into memes, tweets, and countless captions online. But in the moment, it was clear that the circle was broken. Alliances were fractured, trust was gone, and the so-called family was left divided in ways that might never heal. The rest of the night spiraled, voices overlapping, tears mixing with shouts, and the weight of betrayal hanging over everyone like a storm cloud that refused to pass. And as the cameras captured every second, the audience knew they were watching history unfold. Messy, dramatic, unforgettable history that would leave scars long after the lights went out. The tension had reached a point where even the cameras seemed to hesitate, lingering on every face as though searching for cracks in the masks everyone wore. The Bahamas whispers, the silent looks, the threats. It was too much for anyone to ignore now. Yandy sat with her arms crossed, her foot tapping against the floor, her mind clearly racing. "I keep thinking back," she said, her voice heavy, with suspicion. "To all them times Rasheeda cried in front of us. All them times she said Jasmine ruined her home. And now I gotta ask myself, was I comforting a friend or was I just playing a role in her script?" The room grew still again, her words cutting like glass. Fans watching at home immediately clipped the statement, posting it with captions like, "Yandy finally said what we all thinking." Bambi let out a bitter laugh, shaking her head. "Girl, you hit it right on the head. We've been background characters in somebody else's storyline while they laughed all the way to the bank." Rasheeda slammed her hand on the table, her patience wearing thin. "That's not fair," she shouted, her voice cracking. "Y'all don't know what I went through. Yes, things are complicated with Jasmine. Yes, we found some kind of peace, but don't you dare act like my pain wasn't real. I lived every second of it." But the problem was that nobody believed her anymore. Even Kirk's silence felt like confirmation that something deeper was hiding under the surface. Jasmine finally spoke, her voice sharper than before. "Everybody keeps acting like I'm the villain, but half of y'all ain't innocent either. Y'all want to point fingers at me, but you forget the stuff you've done that ain't never come to light." Her words were vague, but they landed with precision. Eyes darted across the room, silent questions forming. Who was she talking about? What secrets was she hinting at? The suspense only fueled the fire. Spice raised an eyebrow, leaning forward with a sly smile. "Now hold on, Jasmine. You can't just drop a line like that and not explain yourself. Who you calling out?" Jasmine shrugged, her lips curling into a smirk. "Let's just say the truth always comes out eventually. And when it does, some of y'all gonna wish you never opened your mouths tonight." Bambi scoffed loudly. "Classic. Deflection. When you caught, you try to drag everybody else down with you." But Yandy wasn't so sure. She leaned closer to Jasmine, her voice steady. "No, I think she knows something. The way she said that, it wasn't random." "Who you talking about, Jasmine? Tell us." The tension was unbearable, and for a moment, it seemed like Jasmine might spill everything. But instead, she leaned back, folded her arms, and stayed quiet, letting the silence torment everyone. Meanwhile, Rayface's temper was boiling over again. He paced the floor, his heavy footsteps echoing. "Y'all don't understand," he growled. "You keep poking, you keep dragging names, and you gonna end up with more problems than you can handle. I don't care if it's true or false. I don't care if it's for the cameras. Don't play with my circle." The room erupted in overlapping voices, some begging for calm, others demanding answers. Spice tried once again to restore order, her voice rising above the chaos. "Listen, this is bigger than just one rumor now. The way y'all acting, the way y'all throwing out half-truths, it's tearing the whole group apart." Social media was already on fire. Fans dissected every clip in real time, spinning their own theories. One fan wrote, "Jasmine definitely knows something about Kirk and Rasheeda, she holding it for leverage," while another said, "Bambi stirring the pot, but Yandy might actually be the one catching on." Hashtags about Polly scandal and Frost family secrets flooded trending lists, making it impossible to escape the conversation. Zell rubbed his forehead, visibly stressed. You know what I don't get? If y'all so innocent, why not just put out a statement? Shut it down, once and for all? Rasheeda's answer was immediate but shaky. Because sometimes when you feed into a rumor, you give it life. Ignoring it is better. But Bambi shook her head. Nah, girl. Ignoring it only works when people don't already believe it. Right now, the whole world think it's true, and your silence is screaming louder than anything else. Yandy nodded. In agreement, her voice calmer but firmer. Exactly. If y'all ain't got nothing to hide, then prove it. If you do got something to hide, well, then just admit it and let the chips fall where they may. The words hit hard, and for the first time that night, Rasheeda looked like she might break. Her eyes welled up, her lip trembled, but she refused to let the tears fall. Kirk reached over, resting a hand on hers, but the gesture only made things worse. The audience gasped, seeing it as a sign of guilt instead of comfort. Jasmine let out a bitter laugh. See, this is why I don't bother explaining. No matter what I say, y'all twist it. So let me just keep my peace, because at the end of the day, I don't owe y'all nothing. Her defiance set off another storm. Bambi shot back. You owe everybody who've been dragged into this mess. You owe the fans who've been calling you a homewrecker for years. You owe Rasheeda for making her look like a fool if she really been playing nice with you all this time. They only grow stronger with time. Rasheeda's voice cracked again. Stop speaking for me, Bambi. I can handle my own life. I don't need you fighting battles that ain't yours. But Bambi wasn't backing down. You think this just about you? Nah, Rasheeda. This about all of us. When your storyline spills into my reality, it becomes my business. And right now, it looks like the whole world been duped. The word duped spread online like wildfire. Within minutes, fans were posting memes, GIFs, and captions, calling the entire situation the biggest dupe in love and hip-hop history. As the night dragged on, emotions ran higher and higher. Voices cracked, hands waved wildly, and even the crew behind the cameras whispered to each other, sensing they were capturing a moment that would go down in reality TV history. Rayface, who had been trying to control his fury, finally exploded once more. Keep pushing, he shouted, his voice echoing. Keep testing me, and you'll see what happens. But this time, instead of fear, the threat was met with defiance. Bambi stood up, locking eyes with him. I'm not scared of you, Rayface. You don't scare me, and if you think shouting gonna shut me up, you got the wrong one. Gasps filled the room as the two squared off, the tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. The cameras zoomed in, capturing every twitch of anger, every ounce of courage. Fans watching at home held their breath, certain something explosive was about to happen. And just when it seemed like the night couldn't get any more chaotic, Spice spoke again, her tone colder than ever. If y'all think this is bad, wait until the rest of the secrets start spilling. This is just the beginning. The line sent shockwaves through everyone. If this was just the beginning, then what else was hiding beneath the surface? What more could possibly be revealed? The uncertainty left the group rattled, the audience buzzing, and the fans at home glued to their screens. Nobody knew what would come next, but everyone knew one thing for sure. The night had changed everything. The room felt like it was vibrating under the weight of everything that had been said. The cast shifted in their seats, their voices dropping to low murmurs, but the cameras picked up every flicker of tension. Spice's warning that this is just the beginning had left everyone shaken. Fans watching from home flooded timelines with wild theories, asking what else could possibly be lurking in the shadows if tonight's drama wasn't even the full story. Bambi was the first to break the uneasy silence. Her voice was calm, but edged with steel. See? I tried to tell y'all. One secret don't ever come alone. It always got friends hiding behind it. So maybe this whole Polly rumor is just the surface. Maybe the real truth runs way deeper. The accusation made Rasheeda stiffen, her jaw clenched tight. her eyes darting to Kirk for reassurance, but Kirk wouldn't meet her gaze. He kept staring at the table, tapping his fingers nervously as if trying to drown out the noise in his own head. Yandy noticed and leaned forward. "Look at him," she said flatly, pointing toward Kirk. "He can't even look us in the eye. If that ain't guilt, then what is?" Kirk finally spoke, his voice low and defensive. "Nah, it ain't guilt. I just don't owe none of y'all explanations. I don't have to sit here and let people paint my life however they want. If you think you know my truth from social media posts and rumors, then go ahead. But I ain't confirming nothing." The response only inflamed things further. Bambi clapped her hands together slowly, sarcasm dripping from every clap. "See that right there? If it was all lies, you would have shut it down already. Instead, you dodging, hiding, talking circles. That ain't the behavior of a man with nothing to cover." Rasheeda finally snapped, her voice breaking as she yelled. "Enough, Bambi. Stop acting like you know everything. Stop acting like you some truth teller. You don't live in my house. You don't know my marriage. You think you got the tea, but all you got is poison." The eruption left the room buzzing, and fans online replayed her words again and again. Some called it a confession. Others said it was desperation. But everyone agreed it was one of the rawest moments they had seen from Rasheeda in years. Jasmine smirked, shaking her head. There it is, the real Rasheeda. I knew she couldn't keep up that calm act forever. Sooner or later, the mask always slips. Yandy slammed her palm on the table, her patience gone. But Jasmine, don't act like you innocent in all this either. You've been dropping little hints all night, throwing shade, talking about secrets you could expose. If you got something to say it. Stop playing games. The cameras zoomed in on Jasmine as the room held its breath. For a moment, it seemed like she might spill something explosive, but instead, she leaned back and smiled slyly. Nah, not tonight. I think I'll let y'all stew on it a little longer, but trust me, when I talk, the whole world gonna listen. The cryptic promise was like fuel poured on an already raging fire. Twitter exploded with fans begging Jasmine to spill, while others accused her of dragging things out for attention. Rayface had been simmering quietly, his fists clenching and unclenching, until he finally stood up, his voice thunderous. This is what y'all want? Chaos? Pain? Dividing families for likes and retweets? Y'all better understand something. This ain't no game. Keep playing with me and mine, and you won't like how it ends. The threat was chilling, and even Jasmine's smirk faltered for a moment. Rasheeda looked down at her lap, clearly shaken, while Kirk rubbed his forehead, his expression dark. But Bambi refused to be intimidated. She rose to her feet, her eyes locked on Rayface. You can yell all you want, you can threaten all you want, but it won't change the fact that people already talking, the streets buzzing, the fans dissecting, and no amount of shouting from you can erase what's out there. Their standoff sent shockwaves through the room, the kind of scene that fans knew would be replayed endlessly in highlight reels. Spice broke the tension with a bitter laugh. Lord, I swear this group don't know peace if it smacked them in the face. Every year it's a new scandal, a new secret. But this one right here, this one feel different. This one feel like it could break everything for good. Her words carried weight, and for a moment, everyone sat in reflective silence. But the calm didn't last. Yandy leaned forward, her voice steady but her eyes blazing. So let's just put it on the table. Are Rasheeda, Kirk, and Jasmine in some kind of arrangement, yes or no? Because until we get that answer, none of us gonna move past this. The direct question made the air heavy again. Rasheeda opened her mouth, but no words came out. Kirk shifted uncomfortably, his lips pressed into a thin line. Jasmine simply raised her eyebrows, refusing to answer. The silence was deafening. Bambi shook her head slowly. That's all the answer I need. Silence speaks louder than denial. The audience watching from home erupted in commentary. Comments poured in. They guilty. If it wasn't true, they'd say no. Jasmine smiling like the cat that got the cream. The narrative had already been written, and nothing the Frosts or Jasmine could say would undo it. As the night wound down, exhaustion replaced anger. Voices grew softer, but the damage was done. Alliances were broken, friendships shattered, and a line had been drawn that nobody could step back from. The cameras captured one last lingering shot. Rasheeda sitting stiff in her chair, tears brimming in her eyes. Kirk's hand hovering over hers but never quite touching. Jasmine smirking faintly in the corner. Yandy staring down at the table with disappointment. And Bambi standing tall, her expression unreadable. And then, just before the lights dimmed, Spice whispered into her mic, almost too softly to catch. "If y'all think tonight was wild, just wait. The real story ain't even started yet." That single line was enough to send fans spiraling into speculation. Was there more to come? Were deeper secrets hiding in plain sight? And most importantly, who would be the one to finally spill them? The night ended without closure, leaving the family divided, the fans in a frenzy, and the future uncertain. And as everyone left the room one by one, the echoes of betrayal, suspicion, and unanswered questions lingered like smoke, a reminder that some storms don't pass quickly. And just like that, what started as whispers turned into one of the wildest nights this show has seen in a long time. Bambi's shock, Yandy's disbelief, Rasheeda's breakdown, Kirk's silence, Jasmine's smirk, and Rayface's threats. Every single moment felt like a scene out of a movie. But unlike a movie, this wasn't neatly wrapped up. There were no clear answers, no final confessions, and no peace by the end of it. Instead, the night closed with more questions than ever. Are Rasheeda, Kirk, and Jasmine really in some sort of secret poly arrangement? Or is this just another messy rumor blown out of proportion? Did Bambi cross the line by bringing the streets' whispers into the spotlight? Or was she simply brave enough to say what others were too scared to admit? And what about Spice's warning? What hidden truths was she hinting at? And who else might get exposed when the next layer of secrets finally comes to light? One thing's for sure, fans are not letting this go. Social media is still on fire, timelines flooded with theories, memes, and debates. Whether you believe the Frosts are guilty of hiding something, or you think the whole thing is just exaggerated drama, the conversation has only just begun. So now it's your turn. What do you think really went down between the Frosts and Jasmine? Was Bambi exposing a hidden truth, or stirring the pot for attention? And do you believe Yandy's shock was genuine? Or was she blindsided just like the rest of us? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I know you've got opinions on this one. And before you go, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more breakdowns, and turn on your notifications so you never miss the next wave of drama. Trust me, this story is far from over.